All right, please state your name.
My name is Devin Wolf.
Reflect on your most recent internship experience. What sector of the construction industry did you work in? Please do not name the company.
At my most recent summer internship experience, we mainly worked in the commercial and residential sectors of construction. It was kind of a mix of both. Uh, we worked for big projects such as the Greater Lafayette Career Academy in town, on Columbian Park, which were both more commercial operations, but we also worked a lot on residential projects a little bit further outside of town that were on larger properties where we would have to do boundary surveys and topographic surveys. But the larger projects that we did in town, they were more utility surveys and surveys of like building corners and various other building location markers that we set up for the companies. We staked using like Lath and Hub, and for one project that we did, we used these survey nails to mark out some piles that would be driven into the ground for Camp Tecumseh in Brookston, Indiana. They're building a large cafeteria over there, so we were very heavily involved on that. And
Okay.
that's about it for that.
What did you like best about your internship experience?
I would say my favorite part of my internship experience was being out in the field and seeing how the things that I was doing related directly to all the work that everybody else was doing, and how like interconnected everything is in construction, and how one job directly affects everything else that's going on the job site. And it was just really cool to see how surveying directly impacts the construction that happens on site.
All right. What did you like least about your internship experience?
My least favorite part of my internship experience was probably the civil engineering side of things. I used to be a civil engineering major, and I switched out of there for many reasons, but one of the main ones being I really did not like the design side of things. And that's what a lot of the civil engineers did, obviously, uh, at our company, is they worked with like, CAD drawings and things of that sort. And I did not like being involved in that stuff. I want to be more directly involved with the actual building process.
Okay. What was your greatest learning moment during your internship?
I would have to say that my greatest learning moment was learning how to use the survey equipment and making sure that I keep all those data points collected in an organized way, and making sure that nothing falls victim to just kind of getting lost amongst everything else. And I would say an even bigger thing that I learned is how important communication is in construction, and how one person not communicating enough about the location of like a boundary line, or the exact location of a utility, or what things to mark for a survey, can really impact how fast things move along in construction, and how poor communication can lead to losing money on a job and losing time on a job.
Absolutely, yeah. Not just in construction either.
Hmm.
What did you learn about, or how did you apply communication on the job site?
I applied communication the best through Microsoft Teams. We use that very frequently, and we shared files amongst each other at our company a lot. It was also really convenient because we kind of had a smaller office, so it was really easy for me to just kind of pop in anybody's office and ask any questions. But if I had questions for anybody outside of the company, that would take a little bit longer because I would have to get their contact information and find out how I can contact them about what I needed to complete what I was completing. Um, uh, also communicating with upper management on a job I found was really important, and making sure that you're doing everything that the client needs you to do was really important.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you kind of answered part of that already in the previous question. So, all right, what did you learn about or how did you apply leadership and management on the job site?
I would say that I applied leadership and management best when I was on the job site. There were some times when our surveying would kind of interfere with different things that were going on the job site, or other people's work was interfering with what we were trying to do. So we would have to, either me or my coworker, but in my case, since we're discussing leadership, I would have to talk to the superintendent or talk to any of the other workers or tradesmen on job site and say, hey, we're trying to survey this area here. We're trying to survey these utilities. Could we have this area cleared for a moment so that way we can mark off these points and make sure that we collect that data?
Okay. That kind of feeds back in the communication part of it too. I mean, part of leadership is communication, right? So, okay. What did you learn about or how did you apply ethics on the job site?
I would say applying ethics was a really important part of um, having meetings. And I feel like ethics and communication go hand in hand in construction. If there's poor communication, then obviously there's going to be some boundaries broken within a contract, and that can lead to ethical issues. So I would say that communication and meeting with a client or a general contractor, in the case of us being a subcontractor, is extremely important. And it was really important for us to make sure that we were doing our job carefully and correctly to make sure that we didn't have any contract issues and do anything extra that was outside of what was specified in the contract.
Okay. What would be an example of doing something unethically um, or potentially unethically in your experience?
I would
Not that you did
say
it, but like give me an example of something that could have been done unethically
I
in
would
your
say a good example of something done unethically would have been if, say, we had a job at Wade Utility Plant on the south side of Purdue's campus, and we didn't have enough information to locate the water main that was going to the utility plant. And an unethical surveyor would say, hey, well, let's just go ahead and guess where this is and use the information that we do have and go ahead and mark it. But instead, we decided, hey, we don't have enough information to 100% confirm where this water main is. So we're going to have a meeting with the general contractor, and we're going to have a meeting over some other items to clarify where everything is so that way we can mark it correctly.
okay. Very good. All right, we got about a minute left. What did you learn about or how did you apply teamwork on the job site?
I would say that we applied teamwork best by, I feel like that's another thing. Teamwork and communication also really go hand in hand. I feel like making sure that everybody within your team is on the same page is extremely important. It was really important for my coworker and I, or the main coworker that I was working with, and I, to make sure that we were working together as a team to get the job done timely and get it done correctly. He he and I always came up with a game plan before we would go on site to make sure that we were working quickly and working efficiently with with our time that we were given on a job site. So for example, he would have me get out the surveying equipment while he's preparing the data collector to collect data for us. That way we can put it on a site plan. But
Okay.
just working alongside each other, making sure that we're being efficient and working together as a team and communicating was really important.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. That's a full 10 minutes. So thank you, Devin, for your time.
Thank you for interviewing me. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome.